Darrell Davis is mayor of Edmond. Before being elected mayor, he served on the city council representing Ward 3 from 2011 to 2021. Mayor Davis has always believed in giving back to his community. He served over 15 years as the chairperson of the Edmond Park and Recreation Advisory Board. Mayor Davis also serves on the Edmond Chamber Diversity and Inclusion Board and University of Central Oklahoma Master of Public Administration Advisory Board. Mayor Davis recently retired as chief of the Installation Contracting Division at Tinker Air Force Base with over 35 years of federal contracting experience, which makes him especially qualified to be an adjunct professor at Southeastern Oklahoma State University, teaching contract management and business communication. Mayor Davis is a Leadership Edmond graduate of Class 14, recognized as one of the 2020 Leadership Edmond Alumni of the Year. Mayor Davis earned a Bachelor of Arts from Morehouse College and a Master of Arts from Webster University. Please welcome to the stage the Honorable Darrell Davis. Mr. Mayor.
Afternoon, how we doing? Oh, boy, y'all acting like this is church and y'all sitting all the way in the back. Well, if y'all people who have not heard me speak before, I just have random thoughts and I just give out random thoughts. But why are we here today? First of all, I'd like to thank the university for allowing me to come back on campus again and speak, and for everyone being here. But my question for you is, why are you here? Can you answer that? Can you go back to your loved one and tell them, why are you here? So maybe after we speak, you might have that idea. But you're here for some networking. You're here for some storytelling. And I'm going to tell you some stories. That's how I tell my story, is I tell stories. And then I have some quotes, like this one. Not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it's faced. James Baldwin had that quote there. So let me say that one more time. Not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it's faced. And that's where we are today. We're trying to face some things that are going on in our society and the world, and I look at it from maybe a different perspective. I want you all, when you go home tonight or when you go out on your date tonight and you look at yourself in your mirror, I want you to look at yourself in your eyes and say, what can I do to help make some changes? Don't worry about what the other people are doing, but what are you doing? So let me tell you my story. Who am I? And so the question you ask yourself is, who are you? So I'm Darrell Davis. I'm the son of Grace and Chester Davis. They tell me that my family started here in Oklahoma with an Indian chief and a black female slave. That's my history. That's what they tell me. But it wasn't written down in any history books. What is your history? So you need to know from whence you came. If you know whence you came, then there are absolutely no limitations in where you can go. And that's what we believed in my family, is that you can go and do anything you want. Can't was a 4-letter word in our house. You can do something. So I ask people, what lens do you look through? Why do I tell you I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio? Because that's where I was born. I went to college in Atlanta. That's where I received additional education. I went to Tinker. I received additional education that helps focus my lens that I look through. What lens do you look through in your life? So just to tell you a little bit about Cincinnati, I went to a college prep high school, 80% white, 10% black, 10% other races. That was my lens I looked through. I went to an HBCU, Morehouse College, a different tint to my lens. I came to Oklahoma for my first job after college. What did I find out here? They wanted to know who your mama was. They wanted to know who your daddy, because if they didn't understand your lineage, you weren't accepted here in Oklahoma. So then I got married. I married someone who was from the east side of town. There was a prominent family there. And guess what? I was accepted into the community. What lens do you look through? We moved to Edmond. The community of Oklahoma City questioned the Davis family. Why did you move to Edmond? Edmond has a terrible, terrible reputation for accepting you. And I said, well, they're going to have to accept me in the Davis family because we want our children educated here. And we did that. And just to tell you what we went through, some of you all know me, some of you all know my family. We have 3 children, 3 adult children. I have 2 principals. My oldest daughter, my middle daughter are principals of high schools. The baby, our son, is a dentist. So for people to tell me that to come to Edmond, that it was going to be hard and all that, yes, it was. But guess what? The educational system, we worked through it. We worked through all the diversity issues here, and I have 3 very successful children. And so we raised that children, and but the way we did it, I also had to understand my why. I worked at Tinker Air Force Base. And at Tinker Air Force Base, I was in contracting. And in contracting, there were very few people that looked like me. Very few that looked like me. And then I came in as an entry-level position, and I had mentors. But guess what? They didn't look like me. So I could have stayed at home and said, oh dear, I can't make it in this world because there's nobody that looks like me and I can't do anything. Or, like I did for 35 years, I put my left shoe on or right shoe, it didn't matter, put my socks on, I put on my pants, and I went out there and fought for me to have a career. And I had a very successful career. And so I want to tell you some of the things that happened because people, I want you to have the same attitude. My 4-letter initials was LYDJ, and that was learn your dang job. Some of us sit around, we don't want to learn our jobs. We want somebody to tell us what to do, but we don't want to learn what to do. I want you to learn your job. I want you to keep getting educated. How many of you are students? How many of y'all read books? How many of y'all read books on this? Or do you read a real book? In the Davis family, we read real books. Because if I have a good book, guess what? I can't give this to somebody to say, hey man, this is a good book. Think about it. I got my master's. I went to Air War College, which is a high-level military school out there. I kept learning. I still learn today. What are you doing? Are you just reading the books that people in your classes, your instructors tell you? Or are you trying to better yourself? See, one of the things that I feel that we do is that we wait for somebody to tell us what to do. I want you to say, forget that. I want you to keep educating yourself. Go to the library, pick up books, read them. Don't listen to the streaming on the bottom of the news and those 15 words there, and you make a decision. You're better than that. Society is starting. I know I went to Morehouse and I sound like I'm starting to preach, but I'm not. Society wants to tell you what to do. The algorithms in this thing wants to tell you where to go, where to eat, and all that. Your brain is more powerful than that. Use it. So what are you feeding yourself every day? Are you, I don't eat well all the time, but I try to. But what are you feeding your mind? What music are you listening to? Does it promote you? Does it lift you up? Some of the music I hear today, you wouldn't call your mama that. You wouldn't call your daddy that. You wouldn't call your sister that. So why in the world do you respond to it? Think about it. You want people to respect you. You want stuff, you want to be included in stuff, but heck, you don't even respect yourself. So how are you going to expect somebody else to respect you? You think your pain and your heartbreak are unprecedented in the history of the world, but then you read It was books that taught me that things that tormented me most were the very things that connected me with all the people who were alive, who had ever been alive. So what are you doing to improve yourself? Think about it. Write it down. Tell your friend tonight, what have you done to prove yourself? Society is putting pressure on you. But let me ask you this. Are you putting pressure on society? Are you putting pressure on the system? You don't have to get up there and scream and all that. Do you have a command of the English language or whatever your native language is to express yourself? Can you do that? What pressures are you putting on society? What pressures are you putting on your friends? Not to be the standard status quo. Right now, we are too technology dependent. Went to the restaurant the other day, they lost power. The person who was taking the money couldn't do simple math to take the cash. I didn't grow up in a world like that. But you all are so dependent upon these things. There is a new moneymaker is going to be the chiropractor that's going to work your thumbs because you're like this in your neck. Because you're always like this. Think about it. I want you to get off the technology, use it when it's necessary, but I want you to have the conversation. This world, this country was built on conversation. It was built on relationships. And I do not see those relationships being built and developed through technology if you do not talk to each other. But the first thing, you got to look yourself in the eye and say, what am I going to do to make myself better? What are you going to do? I don't want you to become independent thinkers. I want you to really regroup and look at the music that you're listening to. Is that reflective of who you are? Is that reflective of the community you want? You get mad when somebody calls you this word, but you use it over here. Makes no sense to me. But you accept it. And then you get pissed off because somebody didn't give you a job. When I was growing up, they called me a nerd. Let me tell you something. I'm 62 years old, and I am proud to be a nerd. Because I can go work wherever I want to. I can go do whatever I want to. I can go because I'm a nerd. I've learned, I think. Just because someone tells me something doesn't mean it's the gospel. I told somebody the other day, you know what? I got a PhD. I got it off of Facebook. So I asked one of my family members, I said, was there anything y'all want me to say special tonight, today, this afternoon? And she said, tell these students and these adults is that your attitude determines your altitude. Think about it. Your attitude. How you respect yourself, how you respect others, how you interface with others. What is your attitude? Are you sitting up here cussing people out? Are you trying to learn? Are you trying to build relationships with other people? So if you want all this other stuff, you have work to do yourself. Because you come to my front door and you're acting crazy, I don't care who you are, you're not going to get anything from me or the Davis family. Because you're not showing my family respect. You're not even showing yourself respect. You're not showing your mama respect. Half of y'all, no, I'm sorry, all of y'all. Do y'all remember? You don't remember because we weren't there, unless the stories were told to you, what our ancestors went through? Unless you were born in the United States, everybody else came over on a boat. Some was on the top shelf, others were on the bottom shelf. There were blood, sweat, and tears for us to get here. And we like to sit here, man, when's the next PlayStation coming out? Think about it. Think about what do you want to do when you grow up. As I said, I'm 62. I still don't know what I want to do when I grow up. I didn't have a plan when we moved here over 30 years ago. Oh, I'm going to be the mayor of Edmond. That was the furthest thing from my mind. But I continually put things in my toolbox. And when opportunities came, I was able to do things. It's real simple things like, what time does the program start? It starts at 10 o'clock. Be there at 9:45 to make sure. With technology, you need to be there probably 30 minutes early to make sure the technology works. Think about it. I want you to look at yourself in your eyes when you go home to get prepped for school tomorrow or whatever you're going to go do, and be honest with yourself. Then I want you to go look at your best friend and look at each other in the eyes and say, we can do this, and we're going to support each other. And then I want you to go find somebody that you don't know and go introduce themselves to you. If you can't introduce yourself to somebody in 3 minutes and tell them what to do, what you do, who you are, what your ambitions are, you need to work on it starting today. You never know when the opportunity is going to be for somebody that can help you in your career, in your life. But if you're plugged in with the earphones and iPhones and all that other stuff, life is going to pass you by because you can't communicate. And if you can't tell the world who you are in 3 minutes, I want you to go to your instructor tomorrow and say, Mayor Davis said I need to work on being able to communicate myself in 3 minutes. Will you help me? There is nothing wrong with raising your hand and saying, I need help. All of the sports fans that you all admire raised their hand one day and said, I need help. All of the musicians you listen to who can't read music they can't read music, said, I need help at one time. I want you to be honest with yourself and say, I need help. I want you to ask your instructor, I need to work on selling myself so I can help myself, my family, and my community be better. Don't accept what's being fed to you all the time. Think. There's another song out there. Some of y'all not old enough, but it was by Parliament Funkadelic. In the lyrics, it said, think, it ain't illegal yet. Thank you.